The scene here is amazing. You can just feel the electricity. It's a history-making day in NASCAR. Van Gisbergen, Preece up front. As they come off of turn 15, we are green in Mexico City.
We'll see how aggressive these guys want to be on the entry to turn 1, the braking zone. Shane Van Gisbergen trying to stay a little bit low. Here comes Chastain up on the outside.
Ross Chastain from row 2, jumping up behind his teammate. Get one lap, early caution for rain. Pit road is open.
These teams will come down. I'm assuming they're all going to go to wet weather tires. Looking at the rain right here. Very small boxes, going to be very busy, Trevor.
These will be competitive stops here. The 71 opting to come down and put on rain tires. At first they weren't sure, but now the rain has really picked up here on the front stretch.
Ty Gibbs in that 54 middle of your screen, just like Trevor said, going to put on wet weather tires for Ty Gibbs. Remember, he ran that Xfinity race yesterday, felt very confident today, Marty.
Shane Van Gisbergen going to go to the wets here as well. Already got the windshield wiper working. As you can see, he's in pit stall number 1. And you would think SVG, with his experience in the rain, would love racing in the rain. He told me this morning, I actually can't stand it. I do not like racing in the rain, but we'll see if that experience pays off. His teammate, Ross Chastain, will win the race off pit road as everybody goes to wets here in Mexico City.
Trackhouse teammates behind him. Van Gisbergen and Ross Chastain, and they're already sliding around.
Yeah, they're unable to get the power down. Buscher is going to be in big trouble. Chastain really wide here around Cindric.
That allows Ty Gibbs to jump in there. Fastest lap of the day belongs to Shane Van Gisbergen. He's second right now, 2 seconds behind race leader Ty Gibbs. And there goes Kyle Busch. He gets the 7. Justin Haley, Kyle Larson goes around Zane Smith, and the 19 is Chase Briscoe.
Here comes the 2. Big damage for the 5 of Kyle Busch. Saw the toe link on the right front killed. The 8, the rear toe link on it destroyed.
Right at the midway point of stage 1 as we return to the green flag. Gibbs, Van Gisbergen up front, and here comes Daniel Suarez jumping out of line, trying to make something happen down the front straightaway.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. He lost a little bit of momentum as the 43 goes by. As they all head back down into the braking zone, trying to stay low here, block any moves, any dive bombs to the inside.
43, Eric Jones, good track position early as they skate into turn 1.
Yeah, the 54 snapping around a little bit there. Ty Gibbs under the braking zone of turn 1 as the field tries to make it through this little snake of a couple of corners, turns 2 and 3 and 4. Shane Van Gisbergen down to the inside here toward the braking zone of turn 4.
Leader looking good right now, Marty.
Yeah, Adam, and just to echo what Kim and you guys have been talking about, it has stopped raining here on pit road. When I went in to visit with Shane Van Gisbergen this morning, he was texting with a friend. That friend, 4-time and current world F1 champion Max Verstappen. He was asking Max for some tips on this racetrack overall, but especially in the rain. He wanted to know some secrets that Max has had here in the past, because remember, Formula One has run here for many years, and Shane has never run here, so he got all the tips he could. Junior, I find it fascinating because the entire garage area looks up to SVG and says, hey, he's got it all figured out at road courses. But even SVG was looking for tips for anyone this morning.
Here they are, final time through the stadium portion of this road course. Preece looking for his 3rd career stage win and 2nd on the road. Both would come here in 2025. 14 and 15 and back to the front straightaway. RFK put all 3 of their cars in the top 10 last week at Michigan. And a solid point start to the day for Ryan Preece, who wins stage 1. Blaney is 2nd.
Free pass of the 19, had to give his lap back for fueling the 2nd time, so he's now back 1 lap down.
Hocevar cutting it wide as we return to the green flag to begin stage 2.
McDowell blocking that low line.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. making a play. Laying on Suarez into the corner. McDowell gets away with the top spot, or does he? There is Suarez. The 99 making his way around. Chaos behind him.
Yeah, big spin in the backs. Maybe some contact with some other cars. A 4 of Gragson. He's going to pull away.
Did you hear the crowd reacting as Suarez got the lead? This is outstanding. Won yesterday, and here he is on point in Mexico City.
Looks like those slicks are handling pretty well the first third of this lap.
Well, we talked about what happens when you stay out on wet tires on a dry racetrack. And take a look at the tread here. We've got this graining on the edge, but also signs of starting to blister here. As that's not a groove. That's not supposed to be there. So these rain tires have really worn out. Caution, guys.
Caution number 4. This for Ryan Truex in the 11.
One more than 77.
Front row, Gibbs, Van Gisbergen. Behind him, Bell and Cindric on those old tires. We're turning them loose one more time here in Mexico City.
These restarts are going to get more aggressive as we get closer to the finish of this race, and you can see it. 3 wide. Smoke coming off the tires. See Bell with a lockup.
Look at the Hendrick teammates. You got Byron there and Bowman.
Oh, the 6 going to have to skip.
Yeah, Keselowski got off track there.
SVG sitting in second, and he said, man, that 54 is good. I don't have what he has. He told his crew chief, Stephen Dorian, I just need a little more overall grip. But the long run seemed to favor SVG just a little bit, Trevor.
Here comes Shane Van Gisbergen, opening stage today. Went to Ryan Preece. Stage 2. Going to go to the driver from Auckland, New Zealand, 36 years old and searching his second career victory at the Cup level. Shane Van Gisbergen going to take stage 2 in Mexico City.
Shut the engine off. That should give them an opportunity to get away here.
And that disagreement's going to roll down into turn 1 right here. It's been at least 3 wide, 3 or 4 rows.
Oh, yes. I was going to say, what are we going to set the over-under on how many we go wide into turn 1? Restart, final stage, Mexico City. Bell getting after it, outside lane, opens the door. Maybe down to the inside, we'll see. Van Gisbergen covers.
He tried a little side draft there, the 20 to even it back out here into the braking zone.
Riley Herbst making a play.
Oh, the 88 sliding a little bit of right front lockup. He's going to miss the corner. 71, McDowell really missed the corner. He's going to come back on the track, see what NASCAR thinks about that. The 19 of Briscoe as well back there. The 22, several other cars.
Right there was contact with the 77 that got him loose, or the 71.
2 left.
Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Two
So
left,
much going
2
on.
left.
It's chaos, and this is just going to get worse if we get more restart. Look at everybody's running into everybody here.
2 left.
41 is Cole Custer.
Yeah,
And Ty Gibbs is there as well.
Yeah, the man that's been pretty much in control of most of this race, Ty Gibbs, trying to work his way through this traffic. It's not going to give Preece much room right there in the lead.
Little
Got battles
crossover
everywhere.
move, side by side out of the stadium. Here's Van Gisbergen.
Look at the beating and banging.
Muscle up. 88 going to lead this lap as they come back down the front straightaway. Inside of 50 laps to go in the race.
Gas for the cars behind you.
And Christopher Bell, he's in a position to, he's going to fade low here. I don't know if he can outbrake Shane into the corner.
Some of that is just get some air to the brakes, air to the engine. When you follow in line at these high altitudes, chokes the engines off, smokes the brakes. So some is just old school speedway racing. Remember, just poking out and getting a little air.
That's right. Here's the 43
Yep,
trying to
Eric
look to the
Jones.
inside. Briscoe's going to try to shut him off there. There might be contact. Yes. Oh, and he's almost into the grass.
Jones
And
paid
here
the
comes
price.
Blaney. That's exactly what Jones didn't want. Blaney's there now. Does Blaney remember? Is he going to cut him a break? Is he calm down?
Byron gets by, and now they're nose to tail. 43, Eric Jones. 12, Ryan Blaney.
Let's see.
We're going to find out because as they head down into turn 11, the 12 is going to be there. This is why you buy a ticket in the stadium. Here comes the fight.
Well, look right in front of him. Out of position. Byron diving it into 11. Then he makes it work.
And he throws the block on the entry to 12 there to keep the 19 from going to the inside.
Jones racing Briscoe out of the stadium. Blaney waiting in the wings. Nemechek right there behind him.
So let's just see exactly how long the 88 is in his pit box if he does in fact pit this time. You see Gibbs has knocked it down to just over 5 seconds. Got another chunk of time on the 88. Here he is, jumps onto pit road all the way around to the yellow line right there. Does a nice job getting on. Now they will have to wait on fuel. You would love, if you're a Shane Van Gisbergen fan, you want to see a 14.5-second pit stop. You get over 14.5 seconds, there's a chance the 54 could jump you on pit road.
The other thought here, don't make mistakes. You cannot speed in this situation, Marty.
So Adam, Stephen Dorian actually wanted SVG to run a couple of more laps, but then he came back on the radio and said, I hear you, but these tires are absolutely shot. The 88 has been terrific on the long runs today. He said he needs a little bit more turn in the slower corners. And now, as Steve talked about, the waiting on the fuel, they jump on the hood. He's back out on the track. We'll see where he cycles out once the 54 pits.
Pretty close, or just over 15 seconds. I think this battle between the 88 and the 54 should be good.
The caution is out. The game has changed.
The game has changed. The one thing that couldn't happen for the cars who had yet to pit, specifically the 54 of Ty Gibbs, was a yellow flag. The yellow is out. 11 cars have come to pit road. They will stay out. Ty Gibbs will lose all the track position. Let's take a look exactly what brought the yellow out, Adam.
Yeah, the 77 looks like he gets turned around on the nose of the Ford Gregson, possibly. And then the car stalls. He sat there for multiple seconds trying to get that car refired. NASCAR had no choice. That's a blind corner.
And they gave it more time than even almost I was comfortable with. He sat there for
very
quite some
generous.
time.
Yeah, they held it.
Another wild,
32 laps to go when we get the green.
Another wild restart. Who's going to survive it down here in 1, 2, and 3?
We're about to find out. Off we go once again in Mexico City.
Take a look at some of the wildness on this restart down into turn 1.
Look at this mess.
Some brake lockup from someone in the middle. A lot of bumper tag. And the 11 trying to spin himself out. They're not going to let him.
We were all talking about track limits when we came here for practice on Friday.
Round.
It hasn't been a big topic of conversation. Riley Herbst getting turned around.
It's tough, too.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what I was afraid of. There's really no way to tell what's going to happen there in the 77. Oh, not those two.
Yeah.
Look who
not those two again.
It's Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
So this is a 24 Byron. Oh, Byron just turns him around.
Herbst was 13th.
Yeah, that was a good run for Herbst. Good qualifying run, good race today. And then, boy, that was a scary one for Ricky. He had two scary moments, this one and then the 77.
And Junior, just think about the weekend for Shane Van Gisbergen. He was supposed to be on a flight to Mexico City from Charlotte, North Carolina on Thursday. That plane had a mechanical issue. He went back to the airport. Had to leave his house at 3:30 in the morning to make a 5 a.m. flight to come to Mexico City on Friday. Barely made the practice session. And then an hour and a half before the race started today, told his crew chief, Stephen Dorian, I do not feel well. Took some medicine before the race, but I'm sure a win would cure everything. In fact, yesterday, he told me a win today would fix our entire year, and it certainly, Adam, would change the playoff picture.
Let's see what happens to the 77 of Hocevar. Oh boy, just deep into the corner.
And look who he runs into.
Please tell me it's not
the 47. These guys are going to definitely brawl.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Ricky Stenhouse, I think, didn't like what happened in Nashville, but he definitely isn't going to like what's happening here. That is not going to work between the two.
That's going to definitely have some implications post-race.
Stenhouse,
implications. I like how you say that.
Stenhouse went up to Philadelphia this week to do some promotional work for the race at Dover that's coming up next month. And he was over near the statue, the Rocky statue. And it made me think about what we just saw and maybe a payoff down the road.
That's a pretty good success. Kim, you got something on the 54?
Yeah, I think some people might be surprised that we haven't seen him make more headway like we did with Chase Elliott, but he used up those rear tires very early in this run and just so lacking complete rear grip.
Well, that answers the question on where the pace is for Ty Gibbs late in this race. One of the cars that really had as much speed, at times more speed, than Shane Van Gisbergen in the 88. Now the one car seems to be struggling. Chastain sliding that car around over the last handful of laps, starting to take its toll.
You'll see the white flag this time. 1 lap to go for Shane Van Gisbergen, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
White flag right here, one more. No risk, take it.
Off of turn 15. NASCAR making history. Racing in Mexico City. And the first name on the trophy is Shane Van Gisbergen.
Hell yeah, buddy. You are such a badass. Yes! Nice job, guys. That's amazing. Thank you. Awesome.
Going to do a burnout right here in front of everybody in the stadium. Mention how all the folks from Australia watching him run this race and win as we see him get out, get on top of the car, and he made his name in V8 supercar racing in that country. But from New Zealand, I imagine there's plenty of people in that country as well very excited about this win for Shane. We saw Ricky Stenhouse and Hostfart getting in it today. Let's see what happens here post-race. Ricky upset. Ricky's had enough. He's had enough.
The foundation for that laid a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, and the carryover is real.